All right, folks, so I get a lot of questions on homeowners insurance and how it relates to home inspection. So I'm answering these same questions over and over, and I figured instead of me answering, why not go straight to the insurance company, which is why I'm here with Mr. John Tankersley today to ask him a few questions about this.
Well, it's good to be with you. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Jay.
I appreciate you doing this for me. So probably I guess the first question is, at what age does a home need a 4-point and a wind mitigation?
So for us, the general line in the sand is homes that are 2009 and older, in the overwhelming majority of time, benefit from a 4-point and wind mitigation inspection. So homes that are 15 years or older, 16 years or older, if they have a 4-point wind mitigation inspection, the availability of insurance options gets larger, and so the possibility of having the best premium also gets larger. So 2009 and older is for us.
That's for home purchases and renewals, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. How about wind mitigations?
So most of the time the wind mitigation is done in conjunction with the 4-point inspection anyway, so we tell folks go ahead and get one, because the wind mitigation inspection cannot hurt or preclude you from getting insurance. So another instance where wind mitigation inspection would be beneficial is, let's say the home's built in 2002, but there's been a new roof that got put on in 2022. Well, wind mitigation inspection is going to have credits that can apply to that policy that's going to reduce the premium. So if you've had recent roof put on, that's a good time to get a wind mitigation inspection. And then the second thing is, generally just go ahead and get it with the 4-point while you're getting the 4-point inspection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And these are that also is for a renewal and a home purchase.
Correct.
Now, you say 2009 on the 4-point. We're in 2026, so are we basically looking at what, 15 years?
15 years and older.
Something like that, okay. And then for a lot of clients don't know that the 4-point is not the one that saves you on insurance. So, right, it cannot give you a discount on your premium, but the rates can go up depending on what's found. Conversely, the wind mitigation cannot increase your premium.
Correct.
But it can apply credits if there's wind-resistant features of the home.
Correct.
That sound right?
So the wind mitigation inspection is the premium saver. The 4-point inspection is the eligibility and can we get insurance on the property. Because
Gotcha.
the 4-point is the roof, the HVAC, the electrician, and the plumber.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. Now the roof is always the biggest expense of the home, right? Mm-hmm. That's the one that's holding up transactions and this and that. Let's say there's been a few of them that have been on where this is obviously a newer roof and we inspected it. We cannot find a permit anywhere.
Yeah.
Someone installed it without pulling a permit. The roof looks good, this and that. What can you do with that?
We call those the brother-in-law specials in the insurance business. And what we do have some carriers that say, I know you can't find a permit, but if I've got a satisfactory 4-point and wind mitigation inspection, we're going to get insurance.
Okay, gotcha.
Now there's some carriers, to be clear, there are some carriers that require a roof permit, but we have some where the 4-point and wind mit, it will preclude that.
How about water heaters? We always put the data plate and the age of the water heater in the 4-point now.
Yeah. So there's actually some new data out when it comes to water heaters. If the water heater is 15 years or newer inside the home, an attic, a utility room, a laundry room, that constitutes inside, you're okay. If it's outside, like in the garage or on pavers, 15 years goes to 20 years in terms of eligibility. Now, in addition to that, we do have companies that will have underwriting guidelines for water heaters and AC units that are older than 15 years or 20 years, but you're going to pay more. So a good rule of thumb for a homeowner or somebody who's getting ready to buy a house, 15 years or newer on the inside for the water heater, 20 years or older on the outside is when insurance availability could become an issue.
Got it. All right, that's easy to know. Cloth wiring, we were talking about that a bit ago.
Yeah.
So that's become a big issue.
It really has been recently.
So there's several different types of cloth wiring. Not all of them are bad. So basically, the older cloth wiring, the bad type of cloth wiring, is the one that has the rubber insulation. The conductors insulated with a rubber material.
I saw your YouTube video on that.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put a link to that in this as well. And then the newer ones that are not that dangerous are thermoplastic. So the rubber insulated ones, as soon as you bend them, they crumble, go to pieces. This is exposed conductor. It's bad. Knob and tube wiring, all of that's the rubber insulation. So what do you guys do about that?
So that is really one of the toughest hurdles in the insurance market right now. If we can have determining, if it's been determined that it's wrapped in something that is in addition to or other than cloth, we can find a market for it. But if it's just checked cloth wiring, it's a deal killer, to be candid. There are very few companies. I'm not sure if there's more than just a couple companies that would even look at it right now. So cloth wiring is very difficult to insure. So that's why it's important that you work with a great inspector who can make the correct determination on what it really is. Because if we have definitive information on what it really is, a lot of times you think it's a big issue and it's actually not. So who you're working with as an inspector is monumental.
He's got a point. He's right. Listen to him, folks.
Okay? Because we had some where if it's cloth wiring, they just check the cloth box and it's actually not cloth wiring. It's non-metallic sheathing, or it's this thermoplastic, and it's in the second box on the 4-point, not the first box. It's easy breezy on insurance. So make sure that when you're scheduling your 4-point wind mitigation inspection, if you're not using J, you should be, but in addition to that, you get clarity from the inspector. How do you treat the 4-point inspection with regards to the cloth wiring determination? What do you guys do? Do you check the first box, or do you try to put something in the comments section saying what it really is? Do you check the second box? All of that makes a huge difference.
So you work with several different carriers. So
Many.
You're able to provide, if it's possible, to insure some
There's not much that stands above ground that we cannot insure.
Right. But I know that some of these issues, sometimes it is more efficient, cost-effective to replace a roof or rewire the home than it is to pay the increased premium.
Yeah.
Because it can get very expensive otherwise.
So one of the things that is really cool that started to be a part of the landscape now, where 4 or 5 years ago it wasn't, is if we have a contract, not an estimate, but a contract that says there's going to be a roof put on 5 days after closing, we can take that information and go to the carriers, and a lot of them will treat that like a new roof, and we can quote like it's a new roof. Your client can close, the roof gets on, and then they send us the wind mitigation inspection, and we're good to go. So there's things that we can do now, pre and post close. We have a lot more flexibility in terms of getting insurance for the client. So these are things that are better, not worse.
Gotcha. What are some other common deal killers aside from the ones we talked about, or did we touch on those pretty much already?
We covered most of them. Right now, cloth wiring is probably the most difficult one, but we have markets for polybutylene plumbing. We have markets for some of the electric panels that are on the list, which would be Federal Pacific and Challenger and Zinsco and Sylvania, and then one you don't see very often, Bulldog. But generally speaking, we can find an insurance solution, and working with you and your folks, the overwhelming majority of the time we're able to find a solution that works and everybody gets closed on time.
What's the benefit of working with as many carriers as you do?
It increases the availability, which also increases the affordability. Like, for instance, I've got a category where we've got a handful of carriers, probably 5 or 6, that the house can be 25 or 30 years old and not require a 4-point inspection. But over here, I've got 20. So when I have a 4-point and wind mitigation inspection, or our team does, we can shop through the entire spectrum of companies, and the average premium over here might be $2,900, but the average premium over here might be $2,100. That's real money. So having a 4-point and wind mitigation inspection, it overwhelmingly is a benefit to the homeowner.
Yeah. I'm curious, when you have a client that's up for renewal and you see an increase on their renewal, do you reshop them
We do.
automatically pretty much?
Yeah, and there's a point of pain where, we'll get a call and say, hey, it went up 10%, it went up 20%, which right now, I'm pleased to tell everybody who sees this, rate decreases are happening in Florida, not rate increases. We're in the softest rate environment that we've been in quite some time. But yes, we are loyal to our client. And if we need to shop to get them a better rate, we do that. They don't have to be with one company for 20 years. So we're for the client.
All right. Is there anything I missed? Anything else they need to know? Anything you want to tell them?
Well, I think that in situations where it's a much older roof, it's got 0 to 2 years left on the remaining life, and you think that, well, we don't have any insurance options. So we've got companies that can write roof schedules or actual cash value in lieu of having full replacement costs on the roof. We have companies that will actually exclude the roof until a new roof gets put on, which lets the client have some coverage. And there's a lot that we can do that most people think they're stuck on insurance, and we actually have markets to find a solution for them.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. So I'm going to put my contact info in the description, and also Mr. John Tankersley's contact info in the description too. So if you guys have any questions regarding home inspections, reach out to me. Insurance questions, reach out to John anytime. Thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jay.
All right. That's a wrap.